Hi, I'm Debbie Ressmeisel, and today we're going to look at scientific notation. Scientific notation is a way to write really big numbers or really small numbers in a way that's a little bit easier to read, and we're using the base 10 with the positive and negative exponents. So an example of that would be if you had a number like this. This is a really large number. And we don't have to write it all the way out like that. What you could do in scientific notation is you would box in your non-zero number, so any number that doesn't have a zero in it, so like that, and you rewrite that number, but we put a decimal after the very first one, 3, 4, 7, 2. And then we're going to multiply it by that base of 10. And to figure out our exponent, we then look to see how many numbers would be in this original number, how many numbers would be behind the decimal. So we put the decimal right here. So we count to see how many numbers are back here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so your exponent would be a 9. Now, if you had a number that, I'm going to rewrite that one basically. But I'm adding a 0 in the middle there. So when we box in our non-zeros, I have to include this 0 because it's in between non-zeros. So we wouldn't do two separate boxes, we still just do the one box, but I have to include that in there because it's surrounded by non-zeros. And then you would write it the same way. So it would look like that, and then you would do 10. Then you're still going to count everything behind where we put that decimal. So behind here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that time it had an exponent of 10. So if you have a really large number, a number larger than 1, and which obviously that is, you're going to have a positive exponent. Now, if it's a number that is smaller than 1, but larger than 0. So an example of that would be if you had something like this. Okay, that number, it's smaller than 1, but it is bigger than a 0. You're still going to box in your non-zeros. And we're going to rewrite that with the decimal behind the first number. And we're going to multiply it by 10. But this time, because it's starting out with zeros, we know this is going to be a negative exponent because it is a number in between 0 and 1. And then you could just say, after the decimal, you have 1, 2, 3. That was the number where the decimal went, right here. And so you're going to have a negative 3. You could look at it like that. Excuse me, like we said, this decimal in here. So we could say how many numbers are between those, or just count 1, 2, 3, or even count your zeros, 1, 2, 3. Taking a number from standard form to put it in scientific notation with a negative exponent. So if it's larger than 1, it's a positive exponent, and if it's going to be smaller than 1 but larger than 0, negative exponent. And that's scientific notation.